We get 95% of our business from content creation. We get like more business from sharing our failures and trying to be the underdog rather than our successes.
We are officially live everywhere we intend to be live. So, hey everybody, thanks for being with us today. Especially thanks to our special guest, a Curaytor ambassador, one of our longest tenured clients. One of the, I don't want to I don't like to blow smoke, but a genuinely influential and important, and most importantly, authentic agent in Amit Bhuta is here to talk mostly about his content strategy, but I think that you're just going to get lots of value and lots of takeaways just from the overall, its overall demeanor, the way that he talks about his business, the way that he approaches his business, and hey, because he happens to work and live in Miami, we're going to get to see some pretty beautiful photography and videography as well. Amit, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you, my friend?
Good, good, thanks. The most time preparing was to figure out the best fake background I could put because we're doing so many home renovations. So hopefully the background is good.
Hey, that's of all of the reasons to have one of these, I think that's about as good as it gets. I'm hearing that we might not be as live on YouTube as we'd hoped. Give me one second. We got always troubleshooting. Always troubleshooting. And there we go. We are good everywhere we want to be. Now we are officially live everywhere. So, it's got a beautiful backdrop. He's got but so this is your own, is this your own private home renovation that's going on, or are you bopping?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for a while. This is the actually the office at Compass is the background in New York City.
I
So
love
I
it.
just went online, found some stuff, and how's my volume coming on? Is it okay?
You sound loud and clear to me, but anybody that's in the chat with us, please go ahead and drop in the chat. Just make sure that Amit's volume's working for you. Looks like all our friends in the Zoom are saying you're nice and loud and clear. So that sounds great. Um, now, what I'm hoping for with this background is that maybe Robert Refkin, there's going to be, it's actually it's a video, but it's a very still video for 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden you just see Robert cross by in the background. Um, well, this is not my intended first question for you, but if you're in the middle of some renovation, some redecorating, are you going to case study yourself? Is that a real estate story that you want to
You know,
tell?
yes and no, right? For certain things. So I'm in Miami, and in the place that I live in Miami is called Pinecrest. So they're super picky with permits and everything. We do everything the right way, but you have these neighbors that will see your video and say, "Hey, so it's more documenting in audio and written word and some photos."
Painting the picture with your words,
Right.
but not revealing any potentially. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's fun content though. I like that. So, we build today's session as how to create content that attracts your ideal clients. One of the last times you and I got to have a private chat, you felt really passionately about, about that concept. You were showing me some of the video content, some of the podcasting, the audio content that I think that's going to be one of a big takeaway for folks today too, is some of the tools and technology that you're embracing and using to have such an ambitious content strategy as still a fairly small team. Before we dive into your content strategy, we'll talk a little bit about just your business overall, all in Miami, being with Compass. Will you just tell our audience just a little bit about yourself in case they're not familiar with your body of work?
Yeah, so this is my 21st year of real estate, so many, many years. And I'm not great now, but I really sucked for many, many years. And honestly, it sort of intercepts and I'm not trying to pitch you guys, but when I met Curaytor in 2016. And as agents, we always get pitched every single day about you need to do this, you need to do that. There's a secret sauce. And we all have different sauces, that are secret. And the great thing about real estate is we can be very successful, but we can do it many different ways. And for me, with Curaytor, it was marketing, storytelling, and just, you know, I'll give you a quick example, and I'm not going to run on too long with this, but years and years ago, I started creating content. And my sister, best sister in the world, she's not in real estate, whatever, just great sister, number one fan, always sends me people. Went to my parents' house and she's like, Amit, I saw your Facebook post. I liked it, but I didn't want to read it. So I'm like, man, if that's my number one fan, I need to create some content that works. And so as far as our team, there's five of us, really two and a half of us, maybe three, you know. When you have a team, not everyone does business. I forgot the other day that I had someone on the team that is an agent. And so that's my bad, but also his bad
Also, that might be
too.
on them too, a little bit.
So we're in Miami. We work for Compass. And I learned over the years, every brokerage is great. It's whatever brokerage that aligns with your thoughts and needs and stuff like that. And so we get 95% of our business from content creation. And we're a small team. We do about 50 million a year. We've done that the last 3 years. So we're on these lists, but we don't like to brag about the lists. We get like more business from sharing our failures and trying to be the underdog and rather than our successes. Because if I ask 100 realtors, how much is good volume for a team of five? I'm going to get a bunch of different answers. We don't even know what it is. So customers not going to know.
That, oh man, that is such an important point, both in the very specific instance that you pointed out there, but also just in a general sense. That when you talk about all the, I think that the reason why agents want to brag about their awards is it just kind of on a surface level says, hey, they're good. For whatever you don't know about what's going on, like somebody else said they're good. There's a metric that says they're good. But when it gets into like actually understanding like what makes them good, what is a signifier of that, I think the common person isn't, we don't have a ton of visibility into that or don't have a lot of thought about it. This is something that I really love. I'm gonna go to your website even earlier than I thought I was going to because I see the way that you position yourself as an underdog and as something of a contrarian right for off the jump. So I'd say your headline is immediately speaking a language that the consumer understands. It's not about you and your team, it's about what their home deserves. But then you use the phrase non-traditional marketing. Non-traditional marketing, and I love the way that this captures again, putting the audience, putting the reader in like in the hero seat. But I've got to ask you, what do you mean when you say non-traditional marketing? Because I think that's gonna kind of uncover a lot of what we're gonna dive into today.
Yeah, so what we learned is, with every other business besides real estate, say Gatorade, right? Gatorade is going to create a product. They're going to think of who their product is for, athletes or people at home that want to be athletes or that are physically fit. And then they'll probably advertise on places where people actually would be athletes. At real estate, we do the same crap every time. We say we do professional photography. We say we do social media. We do everything. And then we market to everyone. We don't do that. What we do, like really quickly, if I'm going on a listing appointment, I'm going to look at the last 20 or 30 homes that sold in that area.
Mhm.
And I'm going to do a deep dive. I'm going to look them up, look up all the buyers. Some of them are corporations. I'll look up the corporations, find out who they are, and then pretend like I'm dating them. I'm going to stalk them. I'm going to find out everything I can on their social. Then I'm going to handwrite a list of, okay, there are 8 doctors here. There's 4 firefighters, and I'm going to create that list. And we're going to create what's called a buyer persona. And we're going to find out a little bit more about them. Okay, these people like wine. These people like the Miami Dolphins. Most of them are from California. And we find out the commonalities into it, and then we create content based on that.
So
So we don't care how many people, we don't have vanity metrics. We want 5 people to see it rather than a million.
Right. The right five, rather than starting with, all right, I know how many fish there are in the sea. Let me cast the widest net possible. Sounds like you're saying, I'd rather, and honestly, it lets you kind of like geek out about getting really specific and granular and building something that you know is going to be enticing, rather than just kind of saying, all right, here it is. You're building a list, you're building awareness, and then from there you're really able to create thoughtful content, more of the scalpel rather than the sledgehammer in as far
Yeah,
as
I'll give you a quick example. Okay.
please.
So there was a home that an agent that when I started was one of the best agents, still a great agent. He had a property on the market. It wasn't selling. He had it for 6 months, and it's our luck sometimes, right? So this was a 5,000 square foot outdated home that that the seller wanted all the money for. So we did our research and we found out that there were a lot of patriots there, meaning a lot of people from the military there. And they had actually in the house, they had a Christmas tree with all these military like whatever the balls or whatever that are on the Christmas tree.
Like the ornaments were very
Yeah,
USA and military themed.
totally.
Okay.
But with names of their family members on it.
Oh,
So we put it like the sort of like the product placement in the video. And within 9 days, we sold the property to a patriot, you know? So a lot of the videos that I show my friends, they say they suck, but I don't care,
it sucks to
as
you,
long
but
as
for the right member of the audience, it's
totally,
catnip.
totally.
See, I find that fascinating. Like we talk with great clients, great agents in trying to figure out like what they build for their blog, for their social. We look at it like very common. Like you think about your buckets. You think about like what are the things you want to be known for as an agent, but also in your community. What are the things that you feel comfortable speaking out about? I know I think you've got that dialed in for yourself too. But this is on the flip side. Like you're thinking about what do I want to talk about? But you're all the way thinking on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, saying, how do I shape the message for the audience? What are the almost like Easter eggs in the case of ornaments on a Christmas tree, for goodness sake? So that's so highly specific. How do you like as you're going on that journey, creating your content? That was a listing video that
Yeah.
that specified that. How like I see the stuff on your site and I don't think, well, this is only for five people. But so how do you find that balance? Is it like you've got your hand-to-hand combat stuff and you've got your for everybody broadcast large
Right,
site? How does
exactly. So
yeah.
we have macro and micro, right? Macro is on the website. You want to try and get everyone that's interested, not just buyers or sellers, but everyone that's interested in Miami to go to our website. That's why our
Mhm.
website is not egotistical. It's allinmiami.com. So people aren't going to think it's a real estate website. If I want to sell my business, I can sell it. If I post something to Nextdoor, they're not going to think it's like a real estate video. So just a pro tip going back to that thing about micro and all that. So if you're on a listing presentation and the seller's like asking you why they should hire you and stuff, and everyone says whatever they're going to say, I ask them, before I answer that question, let's make this a little bit fun. I've done a bunch of research like we do for all our properties, and if you get this right, I take the pressure off them. If you get this right, you're going to be the first one ever to get it right. In the last 6 months, so it challenges them a bit. In the last 6 months, how many doctors do you think bought in your neighborhood? How many teachers, lawyers? And I ask them that. And then after that, I'm like taking notes, I'm writing it down. And then I ask them, how many people do you think were local? How many people do you think were from California? And all these other things. And they're guessing. And then I'll tell them, well, you were close, but you're wrong. And, it's okay. Everyone is like that. And I ask them, before we get into what we do for you, do you think this would be very important to know who's buying in your neighborhood? Exactly who's buying in your neighborhood. So by doing that, if they say, what, we need to talk to other realtors and I can't close them, I'll be like, here's the sheet. Make sure you ask your next realtor. And I guarantee you they're going to do one of two things. One is they don't know, or two, they're going to lie and make it up. And here's the stats.
That's, I mean, it's genuinely helpful and it's absolutely setting a landmine for the next agent that they speak to. That's so like that. When you look for a way to define yourself as the agent who understands not just their individual needs, and I think you're doing that through asking great questions by showing up for them, but then to show that you know the market and that you know your neighborhoods and you know that these properties that well. I think that's the sort of that you can't replicate that. You can start working on those talking points for your own neighborhoods and your own markets today. But that's so clever. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, man, you have so many unique insights and ways of crafting not just content but conversations, and it feels like that's what you do really well, is that your content is part of a conversation, a larger conversation with individuals and with your market writ large. That's one of the things I love most about what you do. One of the things that you said to me in our prep for this is it's like 90% of your content's not about real estate at all.
Yeah, so depending on the realtor, right? If you're a new realtor, you're probably going to need to do a little bit more real estate, maybe
Mhm.
50-50 in the beginning. And to like, if there's a new agent and they're listening to this, you don't want to tell how great you are. You'd rather be the underdog. And like, I'll give you an example. Instead of saying, "Hey, I sold this" or whatever, no one cares, right? Um, but if you say, "Hey, if you do like a quick video story or whatever, it's Sunday and I'm excited. I'm getting to know the neighborhood. I know this, a quick stat that you may not know," and just show that you're enthusiastic about it, that person will maybe hire you because they're rooting for you and they want you to do well. So back to your question, we all have deals as agents that the person is highly motivated, but the deal is hard.
Mhm.
And we have people that the deals that the people aren't motivated and the deals are easy. And the main reason is we have things in common with them, right? If we have a difficult deal, but we have all similar likes, the deal will probably be easier. But if we have someone that's paying cash, but we have nothing in common, it may be a little bit more difficult because we just have nothing. It's like going on a date with someone that you know or that you don't know, right? Like, well,
Yeah.
so what we do is we create buckets of content of things that we like. We figured out our passion. So like for me, mental health is big. Another thing is family, food, like sports, NFTs, collectibles. So those are a few different things that I do besides real estate. So yeah, 80 to 90% that I talk about, everyone knows I'm an agent. I've been doing this 20 years. I don't need to say, "Hey, Steve, I'm an agent." They're like, "Yeah, why are you telling me that?" I know. It's like, I know your name's Amit. Like so we create these buckets of content. Like I'll give you an example. So Jade on our team, she turned 29 a couple days ago.
Happy birthday,
She's
Jade.
killing it. And she sells some of the most expensive homes in the country and some of the least expensive ones. But what she does on her YouTube video, every single video, she has like yoga pants on, like a jogging suit on. And my wife and even others have told me, "Hey, why is Jade dressed like that?" And then I'm like, "You guys just don't get it. Those are the customers she wants." And it made sense to my wife. And so when you figure out who you want to work with and you're able to draw them in with your content, the deals will get easier.
So is that like within your team structure? Is Jade's YouTube, is that on the All in Miami YouTube, or does she have her own
Uh,
channel that you've?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. For us, and I know with the real estate, everything does things differently.
sure.
My goal is to do what I can to make my team want to stay with me. And it feels weird saying my team, our team. I want to do everything I can where they feel happy to be there. I'm not trying to make all these things where they want to prevent them from leaving. So our brands and everyone that has a team, if you have a great agent, eventually they're going to leave, which is okay. You got to enjoy the time you have together. And I want to do everything I can to make that person better while they're on the team. So Jade has her own YouTube, Will has his own YouTube. We all have our own channels. But, and this is the lazy part of me, I don't do that many showings anymore because I'm lucky that I've been doing this a while and people call me for the content and the team does a lot of the stuff. But if I don't have them in my content, people are going to think like I'm just pushing them to the side. But if I say, hey, thanks for seeing the video, and I don't know if you saw in the video, Will or Jade, yeah, yeah, I saw them. Well, Will is going to help you. He knows the area much better than me. I'm 55. He's 30, so he knows the good things, bad things. If you want, I can show you around, but I'll make sure that you get a great deal. I'll do the negotiations. I'll do everything, and it'll work better for you. It helps me being lazy about showing properties. I don't want to show properties, and it helps Will, Jade, Vico, whoever on the team. And they know them already because they're in the content. If they leave one day, it's okay.
That, I mean, you have such a selfless approach to it. I think that's one of those. Is there anything that you can share? And this probably veers closer to therapy than it veers to real estate coaching, but let's be honest, aren't those kind of the same thing? How is this? Was this an innate perspective of yours? Have you always had this fairly selfless, collaborative mentality? Is it something
No.
that you have little spikes of, ooh, I want to hold on to things, but no, I need to let go? How do you handle that as being a willing mentor and collaborator? The world's not always supportive of that. How do you stay Amit?
Yeah, and I'm not going to go deep into this, but I've had 7 friends commit suicide. And when you have people that are dying around you, you think about dying, and then you think about committing suicide. And I had a really dark time in my life, and then one day I was at a curator conference, and Chris, your brother, said, when you go back, tell the world something that they don't know. And I shared it. And I had multiple agents reach out to me that were struggling. And my parents had never known that I thought about that. And so when you see how valuable life is, and when you see that you know, it's just a job. It's just a deal. Who cares? If I have like 8 or 10 years with Jade or Will and they leave, I'm happy for the 10 years. I don't care that. I want the best for them. I think in life, when you don't make it so such a big deal, life gets a whole lot better.
I think that's right, my friend. We've talked before about how you've gained that perspective, and it's such it, it's a beautiful story that has such tragedy and such challenges through it. So I always appreciate but it's one of your superpowers is your candor, your willingness to be authentic in any setting. I think that's one of those things that draws people to you. So I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate you sharing that with us. As on that thought of authenticity, like you said, like mental health is one of the buckets that you're comfortable talking about. That also goes to NFTs, that goes to collectibles, that goes to sports. Of course I am sorry about the Miami Heat's early exit this year. I'm sorry about that, my friend. As so, when you're, I know that you've got the email content. You've got weekly email that goes out that seems to hit different buckets. You've got social content that seems to hit the different buckets. You've got a site that is just SEO rich with so much content that you have created. Let's assume that we're talking to some agent. Most of the time, the agents that are watching these live streams have been in the business for a little while too. They're not too fresh to the industry. I think last week we asked, and do me a favor if you're watching live right now, tell me how long you've been in the business. Amit said 20 plus years. How long have you been in the business? I think last week we had folks who've been in 15, 20 years in the industry as well. David's been in the business for 7. And so obviously everyone's journey is different. If you were crafting fresh your new content strategy, with you've got your buckets defined. I think we'll start past that. But if you were defining that now, let's pretend your whole website went away and all your email templates and all the great emails that you've created have gone away, the YouTube even. Where, like, what would you where would you invest your time now if you had to kind of scramble to get back to where All in Miami is right now?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and I thought about this during COVID time. Our market was great, and I was thinking like it's not going to be great forever. It just can't be. It's not sustainable. And so I thought of, and this could be for anyone listening. Basically, we all have areas that are like if someone says Miami, they know Miami as Miami, but they don't know it as Pinecrest, Coconut Grove, just all the South Beach and all these other areas. So I would say first figure out your area and think of every single neighborhood you can in your area. So I came up with almost 60 neighborhoods or more. And then we did like 20 blogs on each. And so like people will tell me like, hey, if you live in a place, wherever you live, you probably have people that are going to visit there and they're going to ask you, hey, Ahmed, Steve, Ashley, Wendy, where should I go? Hey, I'm coming to wherever they live, and what should we do this weekend? And we create the answers to those questions. And if you don't know, ask ChatGPT if someone is moving to wherever you are, what are some of the where are the places they want to know? What do they need to know? And just ask, and then just keep breaking it down, being like a little kid. Why? And then you get it down. So in our blog, we created what's called MiamiNeighborhoodGuide.com. And so within that guide, we have about 60 areas and we have 20 blogs on each. And so the 20 blogs are like places to date. Where do you take out someone for a date? Where do you go for Instagram photos? Where if you're vegan, where do you eat? If you're not vegan, where do you eat? And like daycares, hotels, just everything. And when we did that, we start getting a lot of people interested in us. And also, if someone says, hey, Amit, where should I go? I'm like, here's a guide. And if you want to look like a hero to your friends, share it with them if they're moving to Miami. And, then your content keeps getting shared. So I would do this because we're not salespeople anymore. We're basically giving information to people. If someone is want to buy, if they want to buy or sell a house, they're basically like on the ledge and they want to do what they want to do. And we have to decide which direction we want to put them in. And by giving information, it makes things a whole lot better. And we spent a lot of money. We spent a lot of money on videos. We as me. So I spent like almost 200,000 so far on this. You don't need to spend that on this. When you're new or you need business, you have more time to do things. And the funny thing is in real estate is even if you're not getting business and you're doing stuff for your business, you feel good. You know, if you send out 100 mailers and you hand wrote them, you feel good. So we just had our transition to the new version of Curaytor. So we're still trying to figure out some things. But for the most part, we just like to give information and it helps. It gives us a lot of business.
It's such a great, I mean, it is literally demonstrating your expertise about everything that could be considered remotely near your market, right? 57, 60 neighborhoods and this many guides about it. And we've got and you can see history and location, five things you might not know, five things to do, five best restaurants to eat dinner, the vegan restaurants, restaurants to eat dessert specifically, the date like it like this is Yelp, but even more specific, and it's so Miami specific. So I love the way that you have created something like you said that can turn your network, that can turn your friends into guides like you, but it all comes back to, oh my gosh, all in Miami is really a really helpful resource. We've got a hand up from Eric Carlson. Could we let me if Eric's got a question, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Unless that was an errant button press. I'd love to hear the questions from anybody. Wendy, Ashley, if you've got any DMs from anybody that was an oops from Eric. We're too thorough with our explanations. No one's got a single question today. It's a good problem to have.
So I
So
was going to add to what you asked. So if you're new or even if you're not new, we just started doing videos. Like I spent 16 hours filming videos over 2 days for 10 neighborhoods. Each video was like 30 minutes long.
Whew.
And so they're on YouTube, and in a few weeks I'm going to film for another 16 hours. And so a lot of people like look for views and stuff, and you want to do views, and there's secrets to getting a lot of views if you want, because when someone's on YouTube, they look at how many views, and then they look at other things. So we can talk about that if you want, but so like those videos that are right there in the front, latest that you see, this Coconut Grove video, it's 59,000 views. So I'm gonna share the secret. And so this is what you do. You do this on Facebook, and you do this on YouTube. It, first of all, you have to think like a consumer, right? The first thing a consumer's thinking is when they look up something, say they look up Coconut Grove, they're looking, or say an iPhone, they're looking up the new iPhone. They find a bunch of videos on the iPhone.
Hmm.
The one they're gonna pick is the one that has a lot of views, right? That's almost always it's the one with a lot of views. So what you can do is you can get cheap views. So you have to promote it on YouTube. There's something called promote. And what I did is I went on ChatGPT and I found where are the least expensive views on YouTube. So I promote that video to that area, and then I only spend like, I don't know, $100, get a ton of views, and then I promote it to the area that I want to promote it to. And you do that so like on Facebook, you could do it to that. So there's in Miami-Dade County, there's a place called Fisher Island. It's one of the most expensive zip codes in the country. If you look at the YouTube on the corner, it's me with the face, the wealthiest zip code. So basically that video, I was able to go on Facebook and go exactly in Fisher Island plus 1 mile. So I got everyone there. And so with this video, I'm able to get the views, plus then I'm able to go to the area that I want to promote it. If you do it the opposite way, you're not going to do anything. If I'm sharing it to people on Fisher Island and there's 3 views, it's not going to work.
So it's like I'm thinking about like escape velocity
Right.
rather than just trust. Like, all right, I've got a great thumbnail, I've got a great title, which you do and you do. You're going, I know that that doesn't guarantee success. I know there's another variable out there that people are considering when they're looking through YouTube, which is that social proof. That it's tough to be in the first couple of days when the video's out. It's like, oh, it's got 12 views. Well, does that mean that the whole world has judged and said that's not a video worth watching? And we know, no. At some point, somebody's got to be the first viewer, the 50th viewer, the 100th viewer. But you're saying let's remove that barrier and saying let's buy a little bit of social proof as effectively and as efficiently as possible, especially in a hot market like in Miami, where there's gonna be a lot of other video creators in the business. So you've got to make sure that you're standing out.
Yeah. So yeah, I noticed I have the same shirt on, which is great. And
I w
so
I wouldn't have
basically
noticed. Maybe, yeah.
the video is like 30 minutes long, and people will tell me no one's going to watch a 30-minute video. And I'll say, you're right, no one is going to watch it except the person that's ready to do business. That's very motivated. So I don't care. My friend will watch 7 seconds, which is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I listened to this guy, Alex Hormozy, the other day.
Hmm.
Huge, huge, influential guy.
Big time.
And they asked him, he has millions of followers, and they asked him, they're like, how do you get over like having 23 views? And what he said was amazing. He's like, you know what? In the beginning, I had ego, and then I thought about it. I'm like, if I can get 20, imagine instead of like YouTube, I had a room and I had 23 people in the room, and they watched a minute or two of a video that I made. He's like, I do it all day long. So think of it like that.
That's such a helpful perspective. I think Damian Hall, another one of our great clients and ambassadors, said an almost identical sentiment. So I want to just plant that seed in everybody's mind, everybody's watching, is that I know that there's a lot of ego in the world in general. There's a lot of ego in this business. There's a lot of put my face on the bench, put my face on the billboard, put my face everywhere. So I think it does. It creates and it attracts a certain type of ego. But when you think about it in that way, 23 people, 55 people, 120 people, that's a pretty significant audience. And do you, I'm just out of curiosity for the benefit of our audience, do you log into your YouTube statistics? Do you check out the analytics to see how long people are watching? Whether
Yeah.
it's about ego, it's likelier about, well, how do I craft the next video to be better, to make it more engaging? Are you paying any attention to that?
Yeah, I mean, I look at the stats every day, multiple times, but I don't let that distract from the message. We know that we can do things in the video to get more views. I mean, I'll just have people that look better than me in the video, which isn't that hard, and we'll do that and we'll get a lot of views, but I don't care. I want the person. I always tell people this. I'm a 55-year-old Indian guy that's average looking. And if I have to use what I can use, right? I'm not gonna try and be someone else. And, you know, I'm not gonna say, I guess this is sort of weird to say. I always was good with dating because it's the person, right? You have to use what you can use. It's not being like the best looking. There's always going to be someone better looking. There's always going to be whatever. But what people want, whether it's dating or real estate, they want to be heard. They want you to shut up 95% of the time. They want to talk and they want you to listen and then communicate what they want to communicate. And that's the secret.
That's a beautiful thing. I want to ask about that as far as not just working with clients, because I think that building a relationship with, we've already talked about the other agents on your team. I know when you're creating as much written content and video content, you've mentioned ChatGPT, you've definitely a VA, a virtual assistant as a writing resource, as a video editing resource, maybe both. When you're churning out as much content, as much quality content as you are, I think there must have been some expectation setting, some relationship building, some SOP creation. What's your advice on maximizing a relationship with digital resources, virtual resources to have as successful a content strategy as you've already got?
Yeah, so there are a couple things. So first, when I joined Curaytor, this was 9 years ago, I was told to have like religious belief in what we're doing, just do it, just do it. And man, for like 6 months, I wasn't getting anything. I was
Mm.
getting no business, and I had to just it's like working out or dieting. You just have to do it. You have to do the work. And now with all these other things, it's so much easier. So I'll give you the content strategy in a second. But don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about the deals. It's sort of weird. As you start doing more videos and you're actually in the video, people think you're busier. They're like, "Hey, can you go to lunch? I know you're busy." And I'm like thinking in my mind, I'm pretty slow, but you have to have the belief that you're gonna get there.
Yeah.
And so like the good thing is, so I'll give you an example. So that Coconut Grove video, one of those videos that was there, so we did the video. Then I went to ChatGPT. I uploaded the link to ChatGPT and I said, make me a blog about this. And I used a lot of different words and make it engaging, write it like Mr. Beast wrote it. And I would say like, make it so the person will want to keep reading, you know, like from when they start, they want to keep reading. I said, don't make it formal, make it so that person is going to be upset that it's over at the end, like that good. And then so once it did that, and I said, write it long form content because I want the SEO to be better.
Hmm.
And then I'll so I did that, and then we create the blog, and then I'll say like, if there's stats, I'll write create some charts of stats. So I'll tell it to do that, make some graphs, whatever, depending on the content. So with that, then after that, there's something called Notebook LM. Notebook LM is Google made it, and so you can take these words or videos or whatever. In Notebook LM, I took that same link of YouTube. I posted it in Notebook LM. I said a few things like you're allowed 500 characters. So I said, like, mention the All In Miami team. And basically that we do marketing differently, whatever we wrote on the website. And then it creates a podcast. So it created a podcast on that. So one video had written word, then I had a podcast. If you see even my website, you'll see like on the there's a yeah, you see that there. And we have like all different things on just one piece of content. You can get so much stuff.
And so I'm not gonna I'm just to not have complicated audio for our audience. This, if they were to listen, they would say that sounds like a mostly human man and woman having a very human conversation about your blog post, right? Like you get like
Totally.
you know what? I'm gonna shut up for just a second. We're gonna listen to this. We're gonna listen to this AI generated podcast.
Buyers who aren't just looking for a house, but are, highly motivated to embrace the whole Miami lifestyle. You know how to reach people willing to pay top dollar.
And you can tell they're passionate about showcasing Miami, right? The real Miami.
Definitely, their passion comes through. So
I mean, that sounds legit. That's a really nice piece of media, right?
Yeah, I started this a few months ago. We've done like 204, 203, or 204 podcasts now on that. So it's super easy. And when we're done with this conversation, anyone, I don't care if you ever send me business, but if you need help with creating these things, it's fun. It's like if you know a good restaurant, you want to share it. So
Right.
all these things, I'm happy to share with whoever.
I mean, that's what makes you such a great, not, I mean, a great agent, a great partner with Curaytor as your marketing partner, great ambassador for, I know for Compass, for Curaytor, but for overall, just for beyond your own team. Again, I think it comes back to that lack of ego and that desire to be a collaborator and a genuine resource. That is, I think, like there's a reason why you're so successful in your business because the best agents recognize their role in their community and their opportunity in their community to connect people to places, to connect people to other people, to connect people to experiences, and be there as a trusted resource. It's like I know that's the kind of dusty old term to be your trusted guide, to be your trusted, but like you do it in a very contemporary 21st century tech enabled way that makes it feel just very, very vital and like a part of your present day community. I love it, man. So reach out to Amit. On that note, Wendy, will you drop in Amit's ambassador page on our site? It has all of the ways to get a hold of Amit if you want to reach out. We've got a little bit of a profile built around Amit, as well as all of his social links. We talk a little bit about each of the components that have gone into this session. It showcases his blog, his YouTube. So I want to just make sure everybody's got access to that. And while you're there, make sure you're following Amit. We've got his YouTube, his Instagram, his Facebook page is all linked there, where you can learn more about Amit and the way that he does the work that he does. I can't believe we're already like coming up on the hour. We got about 10 minutes left. I want to make sure that everybody in the audience understands. Please, we love to field any questions if you've got any questions. I'll ask a couple more in case I don't see any in the audience. I could probably ask you questions for hours and hours on it. But we talked about non-traditional. We talked a little bit about like sometimes you're not going to create a story of your own home renovation because well maybe there's some permitting stuff going on. Like when you create, well, it's one of the things that we know agents love to create, but there's a little bit of a fine line and it can be a little bit challenging. Success stories, case studies, profiling. I know you work with some pretty big time buyers, some large and some influential sellers, folks who might not want a ton of attention on their stuff. Do you, when you have the opportunity to craft a case study, do you how do you approach a client about, I'd like to document this, I'd like to tell a story about this, is it okay with you if we're on social or we craft a video or a blog post? Do you have any advice for folks around creating success story testimonial content?
Yeah, so we do it and it's fun to do it. So I'll give you, I was telling you about that property that was outdated and
Yeah.
that we sold, that expired listing. So typically an agent at that point they would say, that they crushed it, they sold us home, that this other agent didn't sell and whatever. But instead we had my videographer, I asked them, I'm like, is it okay if we interview you? And we want this to be authentic. So I said, I'm going to be sitting in the car outside. My videographer is just going to ask you questions. We have nothing prepared. He's just going to ask you what he's going to ask you. So whether you have a videographer or not, you can have a friend that just has an iPhone and just records them. And that's what they did. They made it about like what you had said. We're the guide. We're not the hero. We're the guide, right? So we asked them about like their process, like about living there, about why they're selling and stuff like that. And when you ask someone, it's like if I call a customer and I say, "Hey Steve, I was driving by the Thai restaurant and I think you like Thai food. It's been a long time. We should get together." If I go there and I eat, I'm not pitching real estate. You're going to ask me about it and I'm going to talk about it. But if I ask you about you the whole time, humans, we want to reciprocate. You'll say, "Hey, Amit, so what's going on with you?" We never have to say what we do if you do enough stuff that you should do, and so we do that. So that was one way of doing it. Another way of like sometimes you said like people don't want their stuff divulged, right? So on Instagram, I wrote a series of like, I don't know, 20 or 30 posts in the past years ago. And these were like real estate stories. They were called real estate stories. So I'd have a picture, just a random picture of the property, and it could be a terrible picture. So I'll give you an example. I don't even know if I wrote this in one of the stories. So this is a story, just coming up with it now. So so when I first started real estate, I was with, and I'll say John, fake name. I'll say fake name so they know it's fake name. John and Susie, fake name, were getting divorced. Susie was crowned the prettiest in this country. She was in the Miss Universe pageant, but they were getting divorced. So every time I went, and she was a realtor now, but she wanted the listing, but she couldn't have the listing because they're getting divorced. So I was the one selling the house. So I would make sure that I go there 45 minutes early every time during the listing because she would have left, but the bed would have been not made. She wouldn't even have flushed the toilet, and the house was in terrible shape. But at the end, if you're a real estate agent, you knew that you just have to get the job done and you can't have the ego. So after a couple months, we were able to sell the house, and thankfully, everyone is doing well. Just made it up. It's a story that happened. We all have so many stories. And if you're new in real estate and you haven't sold that much, it doesn't matter if you sold out. You can just talk about the story.
That's true. Like it's showing the sweat. You kick this call off talking about be the underdog. It's not like I think that's one of the things that people. It's a tough mindset shift to make, but in order to convey competence, people want to say, "Oh yeah, like you said, I crushed it. We did this. It was amazing. We sold it for over asking." Okay. That doesn't inspire as much confidence as you think. I understand you might not want to talk too much about like if it's like, well, and I forgot to file the paperwork. Oh, I screwed this up. It's like, okay, yeah, you want to get that out too. But when you talk about the challenges of a sale, what you're doing is creating dramatic stakes, and then as long as if the deal ends up going well, you overcame those struggles, and if not, again, it's at least creating like, well, man, I saw the way that Amit fought hard to make that work as best as he could. That sounds like a tidal wave of cosmic impossibility that hit him and prevented that deal from going through. But boy, did it sound like Amit was scrappy and he was hustling and he tried to do whatever he could do to make it happen. So
Yeah, I mean, if you
tell
think
the real
about it,
story.
yeah, if you think about it, how many people like the New England Patriots? They were the best, but everyone hated them except the New England Patriot fans. So if you're the best, if you keep saying it, not everyone is going to like you.
That's a really great point. And I mean, there's a degree of it sets such an it can set an unrealistic expectation that the second that anything goes a little bit or smells a little bit wrong, you go, oh, I was promised the best of the best of the best. So
So
again, we're
Steve, when I meet someone, I tell them, I know you've probably done this a million times, but in case you're different than all the other people, there are going to be days where you wake up and you don't want to sell your house. There are going to be days that you don't want to buy a house. There are going to be days that you're even pissed off at me and I may have done nothing, but it's okay. I'm here to support you 100%. I know when you look at properties and we're looking at the new one that you're getting, that you spent 8 hours to find these five properties. And what's going to happen is I'm going to call you back and say we could only see two of them. And you're going to be pissed off at me. And I'm going to tell you why it's going to happen. And there's a chance that there's going to be a lockbox and the key is missing. And I'm sorry, I want to apologize to you up front because this is probably going to be the case. And even when you tell me, Amit, everything is so smooth, I'm going to tell you it's not closed yet, you know? So I
Mhm.
tell him this. It takes away all the pressure from me for the most part. And I tell him too, when you're going to put in an offer, you're going to look at a property, you're going to be excited about it. You're going to go to sleep, think about it. You're going to wake up in the morning. You're going to be thinking about it. You're going to tell your friends. Your kids are going to tell their schoolmates, and then you're going to ask me, what should I pay for the house? What should I offer? And I tell them, and you're probably not going to listen to me because you don't trust me, and it's okay. And what's going to happen is you're probably going to lose that house, and it's all right. I'm here to support you. It doesn't happen all the time, and there are going to be times where you're mad and you call me just because you're mad. It's okay. So what it's like planting the seed where they're like, oh, is it me or is it the house? Am I going to lose the house? And so all those different things.
Man, there's so many different facets of these interactions that I do want, like, as your as a there's the agent brain and there's the content creator brain. I'm what like do you as it's happening, are you, oh, this is going to be a story later? I mean, I think it feels like you're very like locked in with your
Yeah.
client in the moment. You're very good at being where your feet are, is how I would say. But how do you are you then like identifying like, oh, that becomes an interesting story to tell later?
It's funny because I did finance in college.
Mhm.
I'm an Indian male, so I'm supposed to be good at math.
Sure.
And And so I'm supposed to be super analytical. I worked for a hedge fund company, but I hate it. I
Mm.
hate it. I love content creation. So I'm decent at the other stuff, but every single time I'm with someone, I'm thinking about the story. I'm always thinking about that.
I love it. Do you mind if I pop open the hood and show your email stats? Is that okay with
Sure.
you? All right. And I, of course, I wouldn't if they were less than flattering. But I love you've got effectively what I see. So this is I'm logged into Amit's Curaytor account. We've got 5 emails sent over the last 30 days. Look, you got it's a Tuesday email that goes out. Is that have you create the expectation with your audiences that you send an email on Tuesdays, or how do you approach email? Because at the very least, I want to make sure everybody sees the average open rate's 60%, which is more than twice the industry standard of what an open rate is.
So this is the authentic part. I
Yeah.
hired your brother. He
Yeah.
has a company called Ella,
Yeah.
and he sent out two emails a month for me.
Hmm.
But what helps a lot is because we do a lot of content, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, your brother and the company and Andrew and all these people there are great, but yeah, it's doing the stuff too. It's. I mean, if you see those emails, we're sending out a lot of emails. It's not like a small number.
Yeah. Well, so here, like, so this would be like this is like the newsletter concept that's focusing on content that you've created for your blog and video, plus Ella content around events, around like upcoming events calendar, interesting stats on real estate in the area. So I love that form of content. Getting 31% open rate there and 51 clicks to an audience of about 1,000. Again, like we're talking about, like, oh, like 23 views is good. 51 clicks into this various content. People are engaging with it.
Yeah, and I know I'm not getting sponsored for this, and I'm not trying to, but you know, working with Ella was a very, very smart decision because I'm good at a lot of things, but email I'm not. I'm not good at like doing this. And one of the things I think about real estate is you figure out what you're good at, what more than what you're good at, what you like, because then you become good at what you like. And the other stuff, you get others to do it for you.
Right. Well, and so here's where, and here's again not a plug, but like so we've got an Ella every other week, and we've got a Curaytor every other week, right? So we've got we've got a name your price email as part of the Curaytor templates, another 209 opens with a 90% open rate with a very simple response, like a very easy question to respond to. You've got most realtors wouldn't share this with you. Talk about the candor and the authenticity. You're saying you're not even good at email, but I'm reading these emails that you've got multiple partners working on, and we've got this is a realtor saying like maybe it's not a bad, maybe it's actually not a good time to buy. So I love the overall email strategy. Sometimes it's the upcoming events, full on newsletter that's kind of for everybody, which you're sending to like 1,000 people. But then I'm seeing a slightly more segmented list for some of these more real estate specific. Like you said, you don't want to only talk real estate, but so all of a sudden, yeah, a 25% sized list, you're sending much more real estate specific content and getting great open rates there, great engagement there while you've got great general interest, local interest content going out as well. You do such a great job of finding the right partners to help, but play on all the different spokes. We didn't even dive into your social. We've looked at your YouTube where you've got nearly 40,000 followers. You've got great email game going on. We've got a blog that should be the envy of many agents. And I hope that what we've shared today inspires and empowers some folks to start creating some really great local guides. And here we are towards the end of our time. Is there any advice that you want to give to anybody who's tuning in live or is watching this video in the not too distant future? What would you encourage them to do as we've now looked across such a wide breadth of content marketing that you've been creating that's attracting business to you? What do you have to say to our audience?
A few things. First of all, no pressure. Take the pressure off yourself. Don't compare yourself to everyone. I used to, and I would, if I went to like a meeting and I didn't get an award, I was so angry. And it doesn't matter. Who cares, right? Figure out what you like to do in real estate. I have a friend that loves to show buyers. I hate it, but she loves doing it. That's what she focuses on. So find out what you like. And once you figure out what you like, team up with, obviously, this is basic information, team up with someone that likes to do what you don't like, you know? And if you talk about, have these buckets of content that you're passionate about, because I don't want people to look at me as I'm Amit the realtor. No, it's like that's the guy that likes to eat. He's in these videos with his friends. They're acting like idiots, and he likes sports, and he also happens to sell real estate. I tell my team this, and maybe you guys want to think this way. I tell the team, we want to be looked at as the people that would be fun to hang out Friday and Saturday, and then on Sunday look for their $15 million home or $150,000 home, whatever it is.
Does anyone in the audience, has anyone ever thought, man, I really want to spend time with a real estate agent today? But you do think,
Well,
but I want to spend
if,
time with a cool guy. Like I want to, like that's
right.
revealing your personality to be more than a real estate robot is like, oh, show off who you are. And this isn't even running for president. But we talk about it in those terms, which is would I want to grab a beer with that person? And so in this case, it's yeah, would I? It's there is a necessary component of showcasing your competency as an agent. But like you said, once you've been doing it for long enough, I think that there is a little bit of an assumption of, well, you've been in the business for long enough, you must be good at your job to some degree. At that point, I want to know, do I want to go out looking at homes with you? Do I want to spend some time hanging out with that person? That's where you can feel comfortable revealing more of yourself, the person behind the professional.
The last two things I'm going to say, unless you want me to only say one, is first of all, one thing. if you want to get luxury listings, I used to sell very cheap homes, and thankfully we sell some expensive homes now. Probably 80% of our business is luxury. Even the cheap homes that you have, spend all the money like it's a $2 million property or $5 million property. I have these $200,000 properties, and every single listing I had, I was doing a video, I was doing a 3D tour, I was doing a drone, finding the best photographer, best videographer, spending the money. I was investing in my brand, not on that listing, right? So that was one thing. The second thing is, the thing that helped us the most to get the most business is when we started being in the videos, you know, because and just being yourself in the videos. Don't be doing 10 takes. If you mess up, laugh and just be yourself. That's what got us the most business.
Do, do you have more of your content is pre-produced rather than live streamed, right? Or is it
So
about,
getting the luxury properties back then, because I didn't have money,
yeah.
was I was doing these, I would go to brokers opens. So I'd look at the most expensive brokers opens.
Mhm.
And so I would look for homes that when you don't sell expensive homes, you're intimidated to go to them and you're intimidated of your sellers and buyers. I was.
Hmm.
And so I started doing a few things. I'd be like, it would be a Tuesday, and I was the next day was Wednesday going to this broker's open. Tuesday, I would say, hey, I'm going to live stream a $10 million home. I'm looking for one of my clients. I was looking for a client, but I would say, how many
Grammatically, that
people
is still true. That is still true,
want
grammatic. Yes.
I would say how many people want to see this, and then I would get a feel of this. So then I would go to the broker's open, and I'd go there early, and I would say, "Hey, Steve, I get most of my business from social, and is it okay if I do this?" And I'll say, it's your listing, it's not my listing." And I would do that, and I kept doing it. And then all of a sudden, that with the marketing, I became the guy that does luxury, and I didn't sell anything until they thought that.
So fake it till you make it is real, but it's not in that case it's not like you're it's faking being the luxury specialist, but it is real work. It is a real commitment, and it's just that it's that willingness to show up. And man, I so admire the way that you put in the work, and I don't want to say you make it look effortless because I think what you're saying is you showed the sweat, you showed the struggle, you're comfortable doing that, but somehow in doing so, I hope that everybody watching this gets that sense of like, oh, when you let all of that kind of slide and you just focus on the work and you have the bigger goal and you have that collaborative mindset, that the anxiety, it lessens. It doesn't go away, I don't think, but it lessens, and the ego lessens as you put more of a focus on either the goal that you've set or the people around you or some combination thereof.
Yeah, because you're doing what you like, right? You found out what I'm excited after our conversation. I'm gonna do a blog. I'm excited about it, you
Yeah,
know? So
yeah.
because I found out what I liked.
So I mean like it's chasing your bliss. It's fine, but it's like it is. It's about recognizing that this is one of the great things about the real estate industry is that it seems like agents are able. Obviously, every single job in the world, there's stuff that you're not going to like about your job, but it seems like an agent like you is able to really, really maximize the time spent on things that you do and leverage those to have that momentum where I'm doing the thing I like, which is attracting more of the thing that I like. And you've got a diverse team that has different mindsets, different aptitudes, different interests that allow you to divvy it up. So I mean, the power of teamwork shows up again. My friend,
Yeah.
I've we've stayed a little bit later than anticipated. I shouldn't be surprised. I think every time we talk, we end up talking for a pretty long time. It's always such a pleasure getting to speak with you. I'm so grateful for your partnership and for your advocacy for Curaytor, but your advocacy for doing real estate and real estate marketing in such a human, authentic way. It's absolutely one of those values that we share. That I just so appreciate the way that you craft your message and help your clients in such an authentic way. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you, and thanks for everything you, Wendy, all of you guys do. It's changed my life, so thank you for that.
Hey, if you, like I said before, if you want to learn more about Amit, Wendy has dropped the link in the chat. We'll make sure that the YouTube video has Amit's site and Amit's profile on the Curaytor website prominently in the chat. So go ahead, learn more about Amit, steal from Amit. Take inspiration from Amit. He's got such great content concepts. So give him a follow across all the platforms so you can continue to learn from him and see the way that he broadcasts his message so effectively. Thank you, my friend. Thanks to everybody in the chat. We will see you next week. We're going to have Jason Thompson from the team at Curaytor. We're going to talk about some new ad campaign concepts and also do a little bit of an analysis. There's been a little bit of consternation about Facebook advertising. We've been seeing some real estate content getting flagged and pulled, as far as even listing promotions. Some fairly standard real estate content we've been seeing get pulled. We've been seeing conversations across multiple mastermind communities. It's been a thing over the last week. We're going to do an analysis of that, try to provide some guidance for you on that, and then also showcase some of the work that Jason and our services team have been putting together for some of our clients. Some really great concepts that you're going to really enjoy. So thanks again, Amit. We will see you all next week on our next live stream. Thanks, everybody.